Hey everyone, Enoch here with another garden journal for you here on the Urban Gardener. Really glad to have all of you joining along with me here. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button right down below there. In fact, hit that bell notification so you can be notified of upcoming episodes. And right off the bat here on this video, I do want to talk about next week. Next Sunday is the first day of spring. Basically, us gardeners, big holiday of the year. And what we're going to do here on the Urban Gardener is put on a special live stream at 11 a.m. Pacific time right here on the Urban Gardener. I'm going to be joined with a couple of guests who joined with us last season for a special first day of spring live stream. Our friend from Norway, Christopher Bransdahl, and from the Pepper Lovers group, Kang Star. So the three of us are going to get together and talk about all of the great things that we've got growing on our different channels and all of the cool things that are going to be happening this year. So I'm really excited about bringing that to you guys this next Sunday. So tune in for sure and catch up with all of what we've got growing on. This week, I'm working on all of the things that I've got to get done around the house. Here I've got those rose bushes that you saw. They're just a little bit out of control. So we've cut those back. And what I want to do is show all of you guys all of our different container fruit trees that we've got growing around in our different spaces here in our gardens, as well as a new addition for this season as well. We're going to relocate a couple of those trees out here into our front yard area. And right down here in our front alleyway here, a couple of years ago, I planted out blueberry bushes here. And they just haven't done too well in this spot. So I'm gonna do what I should have done a couple of seasons ago, and I'm gonna get these pulled up out of the ground, and we're gonna put them into some containers and move them down the alleyway. Along the alleyway next to our blueberries, we have our container apple tree here. This one is called the Pink Lady variety. And it's already got shoots coming out all over now. So the weather's been really nice. Hopefully we don't get any real deep freezes after this, but yeah, it's gonna be nice to see how many apples we get this year. We did get a couple last year. And again, I might do a little pruning real quick and kind of clean out some of those inner branches there to kind of free up some space on the inside there. And back here on our back patio area here, along with our raised beds that we've got here, I've got this apple tree here. This one is our golden treat. It's up on this milk crate right now, but I'm gonna make it a shelf, give it maybe another foot here so that it can grow right up the center and get all of that sun. And also what I'm gonna do today too is I'm gonna cut out the center there and prune it to kind of encourage the plant to spread out just a little bit more and really get all that good sun coming from the east to west along here. And then our other apple tree, and this one definitely needs to be pruned. As you can see, we cut up right here to allow that plant to kind of grow outwards a little bit. This one here is our tasty red. So yeah, it's got another good high spot up here to grab all of that sun. Last season we added this D'Anjou Pear. It's a red variety. Prune it back a little bit there. As you can see, it's kind of got that straight up growth to it. We'll try to maybe cut it back and encourage some of these other branches to grow out this season. And next to it, we've got our Frost Peach, which was our first container tree we purchased about 3 seasons ago. It's really starting to grow nice, but we still got a few branches that are crossing and kind of getting confused in there. So we'll cut those back a little bit. That's what we're going to do with these 2 trees here. As I mentioned earlier, is we're going to move these and relocate them to our front yard area. And they'll get a lot of really good sunlight and hopefully grow really well for us over these next couple of seasons. So there we go. Got our pear tree here and our peach tree all moved over here to the front of our alleyway, so they can just grow basically right here along the side of the alleyway. And in between here, we've got a Chicago fig. It's pretty much hardening off outside here into the sun, as it's been inside for the last couple of weeks. I picked it up as a bare root and put it in that 1-gallon pot, and it just started growing right away. It's been putting on almost a new leaf every day for sure, so it's rapidly growing. So we'll have to transplant that pretty soon here as I get it used to being outside, and then we'll have it growing right in the middle of our pear and peach trees. So when it comes to pruning and cutting back this pear tree we've got, I'm really going to make some drastic cuts, I think, because it's just really not in any good shape at all, growing in all different ways. Got some that look like they're going to cross a bit more later, so I'm just going to start cutting some stuff back here, and we'll allow this thing to regrow and put some strength into some of its other branches. I think I'm going to just go ahead and take that one all off too here. We'll let these 2 grow here, and then up towards the top of the tree here, I'm going to let this one here hopefully grow out and bring the tree this way. So we're going to cut that whole top off just right above that, and then that should let that spread out a little bit. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is cut right here as well. And seeing as how we're doing that, we might as well just come around and get that one there. And then I think we'll take that one off there. And then this lower branch kind of swings up this direction, and I'm not too sure if I really like that, so I'm going to just cut it back here. And then I think I'll leave that one there. So yeah, we've pretty much just cut that right back. And we'll see how well it shapes out after this. Let's see what kind of pruning it needs at the end of the season. But hopefully by next season we'll have a nice shaped pear tree. As for the peach, It's got a lot of spread out growth from the pruning we did last time to it, but we're also getting a few branches that are also crossing each other. So that's what I want to focus on with this one. It's kind of getting some of these that are crossing around and not growing quite in the way I want them to. You can see here, these two here are touching and crossing each other there. And it looks like the one behind it here is not growing too well there. So what I'm going to do is cut that back here. And that way they're not crossing anymore. And then this one here, which is growing right up into the middle of the plant, we'll go ahead and take that one off too. So when you're pruning the tree, you'll want to walk around too to check out all the different angles, because that same branch we just trimmed off there is kind of crossing up here. So I'm going to go ahead and just take off the whole thing there. And that should look pretty good. And with our alleyway pink lady apple tree here, I think I'm just going to make a couple of cuts. I want to get this branch here, which is kind of growing right up into the center here. I'm going to kind of open the tree up just a little bit. So we'll take that one off. And then we've got these two here kind of growing along with each other. So I'm going to take this inside one out. That'll open up just a little bit more. So with our patio golden treat apple, it's starting to kind of open up by having the branches move in an outwardly direction around the tree. There's a couple here I'd like to promote coming this direction. This one here though, coming right up the middle, is spreading out inside of the middle of the tree, and we want to open that up. So I think that'll be our cut here. So we'll take that off right there. And our other patio apple, as you can see, stretching way up there. This one just really seems to grow in a kind of thin way. So what I want to do here is we're just going to cut it right up here and take out that main center branch in order to encourage this tree to open up this season. So before we move on to transplanting those blueberry bushes out, just a little bit of a update on a few of the things growing on around our garden. As you remember, a couple of weeks back we had a real nice freeze, which really froze up these buckets out here after we got those broccoli starts all transplanted out. But it's still cool enough out, but a bit warmer than freezing for sure. And they're really starting to get growing now. All of our soil block seedlings are coming up really nicely here. We've got our cabbages. So we've got some coming in here, a couple of different plants. So we're just kind of thinning them out just a little bit here, down to one plant per block. Be another week or two and these will be ready to transplant. Also, I wanted to show you real quickly too, here our above ground raised bed that we planted out carrot seeds this last week. We're trying a trick to keep our soil nice and wet on top to get better germination out of our carrot seeds. So we put this board down. I'll lift it up real quick here. Now we don't have any carrot starts yet, but unlike our other beds where I'm watering the top pretty much every day here, I haven't watered this one yet since we've sown them out and watered them in. And you can see soil's still nice and wet. So we'll see here another week probably whether or not we're getting some good numbers on our germination there. So we'll check back on that later. Plus a quick look indoors here at all of our pepper starts. So they're doing really well here, actually catching a little bit of our sunshine today coming through the window as well. But all of our pepper starts are looking nice and healthy. And our tomatoes got a lot of good germination out of the different varieties that we picked for this season. They're all growing really well, starting to put on their true leaves. So we'll be looking at here probably another week or so into transplanting them up into our solo cups, as well as our okra that we just sowed out with our eggplants. So you can see the eggplants haven't even come up yet, but these okra are just bursting right out of the seed starting tray. So we're gonna have to move those real soon, probably just in the next day or two. Now it's time to relocate and transplant these blueberry bushes I've got here. I've got 4 different varieties of blueberries, as it's good to have different varieties to help with pollination. But we did have 5. I don't know what happened to this guy last season, but it did not survive. So we're left with 4 out of the original 5. We'll transplant those. I've got some containers. I picked up these here from one of my local stores. They're just a basic storage tote bin. They're 18 gallons and only $5.99 a piece. So that is far less expensive than any 18-gallon container I can get at a garden center. So we're going to use these here to pot up those blueberry bushes. Should be plenty of space for those roots to grow throughout the next couple of years, and hopefully we'll get better production out of them. We'll also be using a acid planting mix. You can find these at garden centers for azaleas, camellias, rhododendrons, and other acid-loving plants, as blueberries love an acidic soil. So after I've got my container about halfway full of some of our acidic soil, what we're going to do is we're going to dig in here, and what I'm going to try to do is dig in about far out as what the branches are of the tree. I'm going to hopefully try to get as much of this whole root ball as I can. I don't want to disturb the roots as much as possible. So let's see if we can't just get up under there and just kind of slowly kind of loosen the soil, see how the plant's kind of moving under there. And once we've got it all loosened up there, I'm gonna try to lift as much of this up as I can. So, all right, now that we've got it in our container, I was able to get a good amount of that root ball. What I'm going to do is add more of that acid soil around the edges here, fill in the sides. Now that wasn't too hard at all. What we'll have to do here in just a little bit as I get them all finished up is we'll kind of cut back and prune these off. There's a couple of dead branches and things that we need to take care of there, but we'll do that after we get all of these pulled out and relocated into their new location. So now that we've removed our blueberry bushes from this spot here in our alleyway garden, you're gonna have to keep tuned in here, so hit that subscribe button to see what we do with this garden space next. So there we are, all moved and relocated. Got them pruned down a little bit, just kind of cutting some out of the centers, any crossing branches or anything similar to what we did with our trees earlier. Just kind of thin them out a little bit, give them a little breathing room, and hopefully here in a few months we'll get some blueberries out of these plants. All right, that should about do it for our garden journal this week. We've got those rose bushes all clipped back. Our fruit trees are all pruned and ready to get growing for the season. Plus, those blueberry bushes ought to be doing really good in their new location in the alleyway. Weather's starting to look beautiful. Spring is just right around the corner, which reminds me to remind you to tune in this next Sunday for our special Urban Gardener live stream with special guests Christopher Bransdahl from Norway and Kang Starr from the Pepper Lovers community. So come join us this next Sunday.
You find the catnip, George?